Welcome to this introductory webinar of social media best practices for congregations. This webinar is led by Communications Ministries, part of the Office of the General Minister and President, and is supported by your gifts to Disciples Mission Fund. Thank you for staying connected to our wider church, and we hope this information will be helpful to your ministry. In this webinar, we'll review everything you'll need to create and execute a social media plan for your congregation. While we won't offer any specific product endorsements, we will provide examples of resources and tools to help you succeed. We'll cover how and why you need to develop a strategy for your church's social media and the importance of starting with an effective website. Then we'll explore how to launch your social platforms and maintain a digital presence there. Finally, we'll suggest some ways to evaluate your project outcomes. Let's get started. Launching or transforming your church's communication plan is a great opportunity for a team project. Invite a group of members with different ages and skills to collaborate. You likely don't want to reach just one kind of person with your communication, so it's helpful to have more than one kind of person on this team. This project is a particularly good opportunity to engage young leaders in your congregation. This isn't to say that only people under 30 can communicate effectively online, but those in this wide age group have grown up around technology in a way that makes them so much more comfortable and well-versed in those communication styles, which can be hard to replicate. From your first conversations and brainstorming sessions, take notes to eventually become your formalized, written-down communication strategy. Before you do anything else, it's important that you develop a strategy for your congregation. Assuming you have a wider mission and goals already identified, let's turn to the pieces of your social media strategy. Start your planning conversations around the most important basic pieces of effective communication: your audience, purpose, and message. First, consider your audience, the who of your strategy. Who do you want to reach? Who will read or see the information you'll share online? What would these readers want from you, and how will you provide it? There's no right answer here. You might want to focus on reaching families, young professionals, retirees, community leaders, students, people who currently don't go to church, or people who volunteer with certain local organizations. Your answer at first might be everyone in our city, but try to dig deeper to think about specific groups you might want to reach specifically. Next, think about the purpose, the why of your communications. What is your congregation's mission and vision? What do you hope to achieve or accomplish in your community through your ministry? Define those goals and then set communication goals in service of your wider mission. Maybe you want to address homelessness in your town, so maybe one purpose of your communication could be to share facts and figures to help your audience understand how big of a problem it is, and then share opportunities for people to get involved with you to make a difference. Maybe you want to encourage children and families in your community to connect with your congregation, so one purpose of your communication could be to share information about your tutoring ministry and then invite your social media followers to attend your back-to-school fair. Brainstorm different kinds of messages or what you want to share. Your message is the actual content of your social media posts, the language you use to reach your audience for your purpose. So, what content are you prepared to provide or want to start sharing? Is it videos of worship services, invitations to community events, or photos from mission projects? Everything your congregation does and says through your social media presence should reinforce the story you're implicitly telling your community through your ministry. Let's take our own office, Communications Ministries, in the Office of the General Minister and President, for example. The mission of the Disciples denomination, and this is on our website, is to be and share the good news of Jesus Christ, witnessing, loving, and serving from our doorsteps to the ends of the earth. So, one of our communications goals is sharing stories about how our congregational, regional, and general ministries do the work we call for in that mission statement. As we move forward, remember to focus on the who, what, and why for every piece and post of your social media strategy. Before formalizing a strategy specifically for social media, the most important digital communication tool you need is your own congregation website. Whether you are about to build a website for the first time or are ready to refresh yours, take time to reflect on how it works for outward and inward audiences. First, focus on the outward-facing pieces of your website. People are searching online for churches in their area, maybe even using our Find a Congregation feature, so this site will be someone's first impression of you. People have so many churches to choose from, so your website should answer the question, why us? Your website is your congregation's front door, so think like a visitor. If you stumbled upon this website while searching online for a new church to attend in your town, what would you need to see on this site to encourage you to visit in person on Sunday? These details might include what to expect on Sunday, like the worship time, location, and style, your congregation's mission, vision, and community connections, staff information, family opportunities like childcare or youth groups, wedding and funeral resources, or any other ministries that you offer. Next, think about what information or resources you might want to make available for current members. This is the inward-facing function of your website. Note here that if you want to include directory information like people's addresses or personal prayer concerns, you might consider adding password protection to this part of the website or using another platform like a private Facebook group. For more information about how HIPAA guidelines for medical privacy practices impact congregations and members, visit disciples.org and search HIPAA guidelines. That's HIPAA. Finally, there are a variety of tools available to help you build your website for free or very affordably. Don't forget about all the resources available on disciples.org. Just search for identity resources there. Site builders like WordPress, Squarespace, and Wix offer all kinds of free and customizable templates. So pull your team together and start building the pieces of your strategy. Don't worry about having all of these documents finalized in one meeting. These should be working documents that you come back to and evaluate and revise as you go. But eventually, ideally, you'll want to have these pieces. First are a social media policy. Develop an external version that outlines what posts and comments you'll allow on your platforms, and an internal version that details your processes for monitoring and enforcing user engagement. Second is a social media schedule. How often do you plan to post on each platform? Daily, weekly, monthly? What different kinds of content will you share regularly? How will you repurpose content across your platforms? Third, in this plan, you should also include a list of platforms you plan to use. Examples include Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Do some research and know the advantages and disadvantages for each. For example, Facebook has the biggest audience but prioritizes paid or promoted posts from pages. Twitter is great for quick updates but limited your posts to 240 characters. And Instagram is the most popular platform for younger audiences, but it requires quality images. Fourth is a style guide. Create guidelines around how you want your congregation's online voice to sound. Formal, conversational, friendly, relaxed, short posts, long posts. Are there certain phrases or hashtags you'll always want to use, like hashtag CCDOC used by our denomination, or are there any community-wide hashtags? You can find more resources to help incorporate your disciples' identity into these plans on the disciples.org website. Just search for identity resources on our website. Remember that everyone responsible for posting should use these same guidelines so that your organization will have a consistent presence. Number 5, clearly identify everyone's responsibilities on your team. Who will be responsible for scheduling posts, making graphics, taking photos, or making final decisions? How can others in your congregation, like elders or all members, participate as social ambassadors for your ministry? Can you encourage everyone to check in on Facebook when they come to worship, or invite everyone to use a certain hashtag when they share photos? All right. Now that you have a plan and team in place, it's time to launch your social platforms and start connecting with your community. Start with the platform where your intended audience is already and the one your team is most comfortable using. Facebook is the most common starting place, so we'll use that platform as an example here. Let's go over some basic pieces of information you'll want to include on every profile. Start your Facebook page by filling out the basics: your congregation's name, location, profile and cover images, a website link. Once your page is set up, remember your mission-related goals and consider the following process goals as you start posting online. First, maintain a consistent organizational voice. Use we, not I language, because you're posting for an organization, not yourself, and follow other congregations and local organizations for examples. Second, find social media management and project management tools to help you stick to the strategy you developed when you're planning and scheduling your content. Some free options are Hootsuite, Slack, Buffer, and Asana. 3. Now that your social platforms are up and running, it's important to stay active. Use your planning tools to develop a schedule for each platform and stick to it. Maybe it's posting something every day or every week. These schedules could also vary by platform. Maybe you tweet every day but only post on Instagram once a week. Use digital tools to schedule posts ahead of time so you don't always have to remember that schedule. You can also use the planning tools we mentioned to create a content calendar that matches up with your congregation's wider calendar. This calendar, as you're scheduling, remember to follow some basic guidelines for each post. 1. Take time to include media, that's photos, videos, graphics, links, etc., in every post, something visual to catch people's attention. Take and share photos whenever you can, and play around with free design tools like Canva to create your own graphics and invitations. 2. Link to more information on your website or another website. 3. Tag other organizations when mentioned. If you mention your partnership with your local food bank, tag them in the post. 4. Use relevant hashtags like hashtag #CCDOC, any hashtags for your region, community, or even one for your own congregation. You might not have these options available for every single post, and that's okay. So, what kinds of content could you use to fill up your content calendar of posts? If you can't think of anything new or creative to share, keep a list of topics that can always be reshared, like your service times, promoting special events like a children's program, community dinners, outreach opportunities, or special offerings. Refer to a list of mission-related questions that you can answer in new ways, like, what makes our congregation unique? Who are the people that make our church special? Follow other platforms like local organizations, your regional ministry, and the Disciples of Christ page. Now that you've gotten into a good habit of posting and sharing regularly, it's important to evaluate this project with your team regularly too. Most social platforms and websites will track analytics for you. You can evaluate your platforms weekly or monthly at first, and then annually as your process develops. For example, Facebook will show you how many people each of your posts reached and how many likes your page got over a selected time period. To find that information, click on the word Insights in the top menu from your page while you're logged in as an administrator. Twitter and Instagram will also share data with you once you're logged in as a page administrator. To evaluate your website, the hosting platform you use might track some data for you, and you can also use free tools like Google Analytics. These tools can help tell you how many people visited each page on your site, how long they stayed on the page, and which links the most people clicked. Also, take time to explore new platforms as they become available. Maybe your youth group could use a new social platform that your youngest members enjoy using. Keep looking for new audiences to reach, particularly when it matches up with your congregation's overall mission and goals. For example, if you've recently added a new Bible study for parents, how could you use social media to best reach parents in your community? as you evaluate your project. All right, we've reached the end of this introductory webinar. You made it. With these suggestions and resources, we hope your congregation feels prepared to launch or improve your social media to help share the good news with your community. Before we leave, what questions do you have left? You are always welcome to contact Communication Ministries staff at our email addresses here, which can also be found at disciples.org/OGMP. Click on the OGMP staff link on that page to find us. Thank you so much for using this webinar, and we hope this information is helpful to your congregation. Please let us know if there are any further ways Communication Ministries can support your work, and thanks for staying connected.